We saw DRX play this against Fnatic, and it was an absolutely dominant win there.
I love the fact that they mix everything that they like about the compositions that they play throughout the year, and they come up with this. But even though we see the chamber and how it can make the game different, I am looking at Boss, the games that he's having lately, how strong he starts on every single one of them. With DRX starting on the attack, I think he has to be the #1.
I'm looking at Bianca. He's the man of the upset last year and here again. It's the IGL on defense. He's going to have to keep his team in this.
Well, this is it. It's elimination, and we're heading to map 1 right now. Let's send it over to your casters. They're always quiet and reserved. I didn't write this. Brandon Saito.
Thank you very much. Didn't quite catch the end of that one, but it's all good. It's an elimination game on the line here. Trace versus DRX, and a lot to play for, a lot to go over as well. The desk has already kind of paved the way for us, I think, talking about the map pool. We can get into the nitty-gritty of that one, talking about how Trace have now having to pivot, I think, their map pick options. But honestly, the big overarching one for me is the fact that you've got DRX, the lone hometown heroes right now, up on the chopping block with elimination on the line as well. Not just the lone standing team representing Pacific, but also the Korean home crowd.
They're going to start on attack side, and they're bringing out this chamber composition once more. It was an adjustment that DRX made for champs. Foxy9 takes that first swing. It's a free one for him with the rendezvous setup. Doesn't find anything and backs off behind the one-way. But DRX, the spike is actually heading to try to find some kind of pick on B.
They go for a bit of a re-clear of this A setup. It's a high-low as well. Foxy9, that is overzealous. A little bit eager as well. There's no follow-up and follow-through by the rest of DRX.
That's very bold. Good hold from Trace.
And the one-way as well, renewed up, but still the Viper wall should allow them access. Looking for a contact clear as soon as the curtain will drop. Paranoia, and the Prowler doesn't actually hit towards the back of it, so unexpected, but still the trade is clean. King with a lot to do into that spot, but just can't overcome it. Hail of bullets that end up coming his way, and Kai want to get cheeky with it. Pushing past, trying to take that time in, but he's spotted just onto the brink there on the edge of the action. Bane make sure to clear out Heybei. Sole survivor. It's a 1v3. It would require mistakes from DRX, I think, to allow him into this. Spots the head of Akko, jump spotting. Bane is weak. Gets himself in, but still Bane clean with it. 3-piece of the pistol.
A little bit sloppy from DRX in terms of how they were using their utility and how they wanted to break that rubble hold. But in terms of the shooting, they just had all of the advantages there. And I think that's where we're going to see this DRX squad really push that advantage, is by trying to take as many gunfights as they can. Trace are a smart team. But I think if we learned anything from that EDG game, EDG were forcing fights up in the tempo, trying to contact in and rely on the rifling, and they ripped Trace to pieces. If DRX watched that game, though, you can only take away big ideas like that because we haven't seen Trace play on Lotus or Abyss.
Okay.
Fung Fung takes down Foxy9's head right at the start. Foxy9's having a rough opening to play in Chamber here.
That's the thing with a chamber pick as well. It's quite obvious in terms of where you're going to be trying to play.
Definitely. I mean, majority of these early rounds, Foxy9 is going to be trying to post up on those kind of lines. It's also somewhat susceptible to buying Guardian, Odin, something like that, and spamming.
Yeah.
Almost always he's going to have that rendezvous tucked into that corner of lobby. You can move it around a little bit, but there's a decent chance that a defender can get some good damage onto you, forcing out that rendezvous and then popping shots.
And just one shot fired to break the haunt as well, so Bianca doesn't really have much to go off of.
And I fear he's not going to be able to hold this one down on his own. So many players on the other side, and yet overthinking it perhaps here a little bit, Marco.
I'm a bit worried about this one because still Trace is sticking this 3 players stacking over towards A as well. And with time running short, that's a necessary element really that you're going to be needing to win the round if you are DRX in this spot. They might start to increase the tempo round about now.
Paranoia,
as we mentioned, still pivot options aren't quite there. Beautiful with the flash still. Time just in there for them, 10 seconds left. Whip the outlaw around and catching it onto the back of Heybei. So the danger is navigated.
And I think Trace gave them that one a little easily there. I'm not sure what that decision making was from Law King and Kai. They had Paranoia, they went for They assumed that the whole hit was coming through tree, and they're asking Fong Fong and Bianca to do an outrageous amount here if they wanted this round to go in their direction. It's damage, the name of the game at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Tried to take guns out of the hand of DRX. But you do not want to be giving orbs to Buzz.
He's steadily trying to build up to that showstopper. Going to be missing the target here, Mako.
Mako?
Oh, he's going down with a ship. Oh, no. And even dropping flashback. So the guns, that's some significant economic damage that Tracer being able to at least do to DRX here. See how many guns they will be able to keep.
Mako watched the lifeboat just escape the Titanic without him on it.
I know, it's tragic. Oh.
The paranoia is nice from Mako there, obviously, catching Locking and onto Kai. But they didn't fall back into defensive positions, using that backside and the cover available to them.
Yeah.
I really feel like Trace thought that was coming full through tree. A bad read, unfortunately, for them. And DRX have got a bit of an odd buy coming into the bonus. It definitely feels like a bonus round, not a full rifle round. Can Foxy do anything at the start here?
It's going to be all-out war occurring out towards the rubble as well. That paranoia is beautiful. Buzz caught up, but still he's safely tucked inside the smoke. Just tries to take that angle and fight, but again, nothing to really add on. Extra spice in terms of that util, and players are accounted for right now. Bane still looking snappy alongside Flashback. Maybe enough to make something of this round still, but leaving it just down to the one, and he will be quickly approached. And the double-up discipline of Trace is enough to seal up that round. Puts at least the one on the board for now.
Bianca, what a round. Stacks over towards the site, correctly reads things as the IGL. He's already been eliminated from Champions once by EDG and DRX. Not today, he says, with a 4K in this Rubble fight. DRX has been putting a heavy emphasis over towards Rubble in these first few rounds. It's only been 3, but a lot of the early round pressure has been in that direction. Trace, I think that was a 4-player stack from the defenders. This time, going to be fighting it with 3. And Hebe coming over to help. Same stuff again.
Yeah.
Very, very early paranoia usage from Lorking. I'm not a big fan of that, especially if DRX start committing less and less to Rubble. You're going to want to see Lorking hold it. Such a big tool to play retakes, for example, reclears later in the round.
Just putting a premium on pushing Foxy 9 away, at least.
Which is interesting, because he's still got a goose egg out here.
Exactly, 0-3. Was giving Fnatic a bit of trouble, though, when Haven was played, DRX.
He absolutely was.
Pulling out this composition, the operator was doing work.
I'm afraid I've got to remind you that this map is called Lotus, though.
Oh, excuse me, yeah.
That's
3 sites, close enough.
Yeah, that's reasonable, to be honest.
Yeah, listen, the brain fog comes for us all.
Still those 3 players from Trace holding in this direction. And if Foxy9 wants to make something happen here, got to get past the Prowler.
God, and he's absorbing a lot of util into the process as well. Does have the rendezvous to get out of dodge, tries to adjust with the shot.
All of this is not really doing much in the round. The time's ticked down, and now Mako's got a decision. Where do you go? How do you get in?
You're going over towards C. You haven't cleared any of this prior util down. Hebe wants to just land those shots, and he will do that. Nano swarms as well, making sure that nobody can follow up onto this flashback. He's going to try and barrel through and find an opening in through the B site. With 2 players dropped in through the connector. Bianca now last alive on that spot. Alerts them. Nightfall scatters out onto the site now, trying to put the pressure and apply it straight to them. Kai, he's left into that 1v2, hops up and over, but a watchful eye of Mako will drop him down.
Oh, it's not elegant, it's not beautiful, but it gets the job done for DRX. Flashback opens things up just by bulldozing his way through this B main angle, through a Viper wall as well. Wide swinging to take down Lorking. And I think that that is going to be, like I said earlier, a really big key. It's just forcing gunfights. DRX have gone really heavy into rookies with solid rifling.
Yeah.
Really solid rifling. I think they outskill this Trace roster if they force fights against them. At the moment, DRX are playing some slow rounds and not really getting anywhere with it until they go for the fights.
That's concerning, I think, that waiting outside C, not clearing any of the mollies, pulling out some of that util. Kai, he's getting cheeky. Of course, risks need to be taken. Maybe not for Foxy9, though. He will be able to get out of dodge there. Taking a lot of damage in the process. In through the C site now we go. DRX get the confirmation. So player lurking out through Waterfall.
Does Fong Fong commit to this? It would be extraordinarily ambitious to go for it in a 4v5 when you only have classics. So presumably, if Trace were able to get a pick here or there, maybe that would justify expending the ultimate.
Yeah, might hit the go button.
DRX don't actually have very much space on site here. They don't control waterfall. They don't control spawn. And yet, Trace are not really forcing the action. They're just playing for exits by the look of things.
Yeah, slow and steady. They are one of the most, you know, quote-unquote standard teams that we have out of the China region in terms of how they play. All about trying to be efficient with the rounds, and they don't make too many risky plays, even though timing would have been right for it potentially into this one. Still, as you said, going to be going down to the spike here, denying a lot more. But this is DRX now with 4 rounds on the board. They're getting up to this next buy round and starting to feel a little bit of a worry for Trace, I think.
Absolutely, especially just their decision-making in that moment. Which ultimates are you afraid of charging up there on DRX? They already have the showstopper. They already have Pit. What are you worried that Mako's going to get up to his Omen ult?
Yeah.
Like, why not go for that and try to do some economic damage at least? Keep DRX honorable. Okay, never mind. Let's move on. Round 6 in the lower bracket here at Champs.
Same setup by Trace.
Very, very similar. Are we still getting that paranoia off the beginning from Law King? Yep.
Yeah, paranoia, Horn 2, a lot of that missing as well. The Horn catching Foxy9! How the hell did that happen? Couldn't quite get out of there. I'm not sure if the nade rebounded and broke his TP. Might have been hard committed. No, it looks like it's still up on the minimap, so I'm not sure what happened there from Foxy9.
Yeah, mate, neither am I. He was overwhelmed with utility coming at him. He's trying to find a timing past the paranoia, and then he has to deal with the Horn and the Boombot. He didn't have it. He didn't have the mental bandwidth, I think.
Nade though, it's going to be bouncing off the back wall, clears. And partitions out this side, still Kai. He's going to be holding strong. Needs to be that stalwart defender, but he's going to be dropped from the rocket, but still goes at least pound for pound there. Nade again to back them away. Still these kills in the favor of Trace. 3v2 for their retake, but the Pit placed down, propped up. Very difficult to deal with if you are Trace now. It's going to take a couple of raw duels, maybe a bit of spam, getting lucky. They're going to be hoping for it, hunting for it. Rifles in hand. In terms of util to work with, it's not too much here. Adjustment, smokes, drop the Bane! My God! Just wrangles that rifle and brings it closer and closer to victory over the precipice. And a 5th round for him, with how important that is as well. Economy most likely broken for Trace. Listen, I'm no mathematician. They might be able to scramble together a buy off the back of it because of the loser's bonus, but this is getting really, really tricky.
Certainly is. And another big round from Bane. He's had a couple of them so far. He's 8-1 in the server right now. Good to see a rookie player that hasn't had the best performances just yet at Champs find his place, find his footing. Trace are going to be broken. The economy's not looking good for them. He's dead right, and they're looking to push.
Taking that contact as well. Oh my God, weaving in and out of the bullets. Barely escaping death there from that main fight as well, trying to put the squeeze onto DRX.
Nice
Chasing
reaction.
them from behind, yeah, and it is a good reaction.
I like this. They got out just in time to avoid those players pushing them from C. Now they should have a good idea that it's an empty A site. They should be accelerating. They're a little slow with it, to be honest, but Foxy9's watching the flank.
He is watching it, but he's really going to be locked down onto this spot still, nailing his shots. There's a bit of danger that he potentially might lose his operator, needs a bit of help from the rest of his team, but plant's down, and apparently easy pickings for him. He's on for the ace.
That's definitely going to make the stats look better. Grab the 4K on the anti-eco round as everybody's pushing you one by one. Not bad. He does his job there, Foxy9. Stops any level of danger. Trace, try a little pocket pick. But I think what we've seen so far from them in these first 7 rounds is that they do look a lot less comfortable, a lot less good, strong ideas compared to the maps that they've been winning on so far at Champs, which is Ascent and Bind. We've only seen them win on Ascent and Bind. We've only seen them play on Ascent, Bind, Sunset. It's a bizarre situation in which they got the same map pool against Vitality and Leviathan.
That's why we were kind of thinking about, okay, I'll hold that thought for now as well, as Foxy9 does once more pay the price of peeking that angle up through. That is, I mean, okay, hey, Bay, listen, team's already up 1, but he decided to take the fight anyway, so he's brought it to that 4-on-4. Nade held, sees alongside it. Good additions to try and clear this space into it, but a corner not accounted for. And Bianchi happy to oblige. Feng Feng right over the shoulder. Buzz dropped in the process. Now ADS but lining him up. Flashback might just be their savior. Weaving in and out of the angles. That's ridiculous. Even getting a bit of a run on as well because he knows he's done the business and done the damage. Feng Feng needs to isolate this fight in through the corner, but Mako drops him.
The rookie players are just taking turns, cycling through, seeing who can step up for DRX and pull off a big round win. Trace are going to take a tight time out here. It's already been called. It is ridiculous, I think, that they got themselves up into a 5v4 and then committed to try to stop that. I don't believe that we saw the snake bite come out. I could be wrong about that, of course. But it looked to me like Hebe had swung without really having too much of an advantage in terms of how he's going to stop that from snowballing on top of him.
Yeah.
It's a scrappy game right now. DRX seem to be hard leaning into individualism. I do think that that's a good game plan, but it's creating chaotic situations all over the place. Foxy9 is still trying to do the same swing over towards Rubble.
Over and over again.
Because he's realized he can get in front of the paranoia. So in Foxy9's head, he's thinking, okay, Law King's throwing a bad paranoia here, I can punish this. And then Tracer thinking, oh, he's running in front of the paranoia every time, we can punish him. So it's just a bit bizarre swirling of interactions of kind of suboptimal play and who can get the better end of it, who can grasp it.
But form being that deciding factor, I mean, it's kind of expected, right? When I think us coming into this, we're looking at the map pool overall. And Bind and Ascent being the only two maps that Trace ended up winning on. Bind took a big knock with EDG. They hard antied them. I went over that VOD thinking Bind was going to be played today, much to my dismay. It's not.
Yeah.
But EDG really did hard counter a lot of what Trace were doing on their setups, and it has knocked their confidence. Even still, it shows with them second banning the map in this map pool, in this big ban system that we've got here with these games played.
Let's have a look at the A-Rubble fight again, though. Does Foxy9 get in front of the paranoia?
Oh, yes, he does.
Yes. Do they try to punish him again? Yes. Same scenario. It's like they're just rolling the dice to see what happens there. Both teams believing in their own individualism, not changing anything.
It's a fake TP forward as well. The Satchel might do enough to remove, just the one Nano Swarm.
That's not bad, though. I mean, they've removed the alarm bot as well, so they've got rid of some decent util over here. Trace got good information on the A site. Do they choose to go for a lockdown?
Oh, TP in through the back. That's Mako as well. He's trying to clear the most of the way. He's been naded by his team. All good, though. Paranoia sweeps through. Buzz follows up off the back of it, and his team are at least trying to collect up these kills onto the site, and they will do just that.
Lockdown goes through, but they've already lost two.
Yeah, so the lockdown is going to be used to try and play this one, but the nade is perfect. It just rebounds, and yeah, you can feel it, man. It's untested, it's untempered here by Trace, taking him onto this map, and you're going to need raw individualistic aim to carry them through this round for even a chance of a win. Listen, the Guardian's in their hand with a decent amount of chip damage. Pushing back Foxy9 in through the corner. Bane, though, still locked onto sight. Slightest of off angles. Anticipating the wide swing, and he'd be right on the money with that. Earns himself a kill as a result of it. And rapidly, the options are running out here for Trace once more. Gotta hightail it, gotta save the guns. Stem the bleeding in whatever way you can, but at this point, the map is running away from you.
There's not even a trade as they come through that smoke there, Trace. It looks like they're pretty far behind the Lotus meta compared to teams like DRX. And we've already seen DRX pick up big wins on this map. They managed to take down Fnatic on Lotus, which is a huge accomplishment. I think mostly because Fnatic got caught off by the composition and how well DRX played around it. Foxy9 was having a blinder of a day on Chamber that time. But Buzz was also a monster. Had over 1 KPR in that entire match. And this is the kind of game where you can really flex your muscles a little bit and try to take things to Trace.
Yeah.
Right, here we go. Does Foxy9 swing in front of the paranoia again?
They're holding a Season 8 this time, but again, it's probably not going to be stopping him. Yeah, as soon as the util goes flying, he's back out of there. It's pulling out so much of the util from Trace that leaving them with nothing but scraps, really, for a lot of these retakes.
He's fine doing it at this point. There wasn't a paranoia used from Law King, so Trace were trying to adjust something there, And it looks like Foxy9's not really trying to contest the angle anymore. He's doing the same thing because he realizes it gets his team a util advantage, but he's not actually staying long enough to get punished. So we are now seeing both sides adapt to this fight over towards Rubble in subtle ways. Foxy9 gets that rendezvous back online again. But there's a one-way in his face. Should get broken by his team as the Viper wall goes up.
Bianchi sending out the util. Spades of it now and needs to assist with most of this. Buzz is hot on the heels of all these players. Goodness me, he's just chopping them down. There is no defense over towards the A Rubble. The protocols in place from DRX are just immaculate.
He had an outstanding kill on Fong in the previous round, and that's another world-class shot. This time, though, Fong with the revenge.
He's got to try and answer back, hasn't he? Showstopper. It's going to be used. That's incredibly preemptive. To no avail.
On whom?
And now walking back up, creeping to try and take up that space once more. In through B, there might be an appropriate response again from Trace. They've got two players up through heaven. It's Kai, shoulder to shoulder. Shots need to be landed here. Spraying them down, the spacing just not good enough. And time now on the other foot. DRX pushed into a hole there, really, with nowhere else to go.
Trace finally managed to be able to pick up a round there. A big one from Heibei. This guy's been so incredibly important for them in their run at this event. We've seen him wear his heart on his sleeve too. And it would be crushing for either of these teams to go out. It feels too early to be sending teams home from our playoff stage already.
Yeah.
But that advantage, that extra lifeline of the upper bracket quickly dwindled away for squads like Trace and DRX.
And now just the hardest possible path if you want to survive in the tournament.
Fong's been spotted. I don't think he even realized it there. It was that box jump peak. And Fong wasn't ready for it. They also, though, DRX did not manage to punish him. They were going for that wallbang spam to try to aim punch him, knock him off the angle. Instead, the fight comes towards Bianchi.
Well, Maka's already crept up onto this. The lack of presence over towards A Rebel as well. Pretty big indicator now to Nightfall as well. Bust through. Again, Showstopper in his hands. Be able to pave the way, lead the charge to the rest of his team, but honestly, the damage is already done. Kills are already through against the back wall. Heibei might need a change of trousers after that one, I think. Barely surviving. Three v 5 though to play this retake, and with an operator in the hands of Fong. He's only watching for the flank.
Sees nade. Kai dodges.
Corner, yeah, Kai's able to survive. Still time is running out here. Spike's going to start to at least tick away from them. And the kill's also getting away with them at that. There's a trade at least online, but you won't be able to save this operator. Feng. Shots off, but yeah, quickly approach in terms of his position. DRX just trying to essentially get this up to a 10-2 finish at the first half. Looking unstoppable.
It's absolute domination. It really is. Trace don't have the layers to their game on this map, despite picking it, which, you know, that's a surprise in itself today, I think. But they don't have the layers. For example, here, there's no real idea of what they can do to stop the Showstopper from Buzz, taking all of that space away. And you see it in the body language there from Bianchi, the IGL, who's been to champs before, won games at this tournament before. Feels like he's out of his depth here. Similar play to what we've seen prior. This time the Haunt is able to just light up Fong. And Buzz for the easiest diff in his life there. It's all supplemented by that util. Taking point, Prowler spots it in through the door. Low King, lucky to be alive. Bianchi though traded out, just trying to hold it down through the side and wasn't expecting players to creep up behind him when the door swapping by. That is just absurd. Flashback just flexing on him at this point. And Kai, it's not going to be long for this world. Tagged up through the wall, stray bullets. It's enough to do the job there. That's a 10-2 half for DRX. Domination doesn't even begin to describe it. This is the experience difference. This is Trace having not played Lotus against top teams in the world and been able to refine their meta over the course of scrims. This is DRX winning the map, barring a miracle.
Oh, come on.
Trade in any phone in any condition guaranteed and get $800 off the new Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
For the map so far, it's, scrappy, it's individualistic. Teams and players, they're leaning into that raw aim and just hoping that they can brute force their way through a lot of these scenarios here. But for Trace as well, reflecting on how far they've come, this is a bit of a heartbreaking scenario for them, I think, as well, when the expectations were probably quite high for themselves. They come out of their group as the first seed, but now it's feeling like they're in a bit of a free fall.
I would agree with that. They got the most unlucky playoff matchup they could have done, playing against EDG, who know them like the back of their hand. And now as we get more closely to playoffs, these teams now respect them, know how to punish their map pool. DRX today banning Ascent to force Trace to take us here to Lotus. And DRX have woken up and realized that they're going to win. They didn't let the DRX loss to Sentinels affect them, and they've come out here with some fire.
Yeah, and the pressure's just sliding off of them, I think, at this point, despite the fact that they are the last holders of the kind of respect here for Pacific, the chance for them to lift the trophy, for the Korean crowd too. That would affect them.
Yeah, there could have been a huge amount of weight on their shoulders coming into today, but they're playing quite freely.
Foxy9. 2 bullets expended, just from the Headhunter.
I actually think the DRX have got better over the course of this map too. It was looking scrappy at the beginning, but some of the stuff we were watching from like round 8 onwards was pretty clean, pretty nice. And as they kind of relax into things, we'll see whether they can convert the pistol too. 50 seconds left, and this could go A or B. It looks like an A fake that they're going to try to pivot through the blue door, which is open, and Bane's watchful eyes are here.
And Ben's going to have a lot to do into this spot. Anchoring player into it, Prowler in through his face, but it matters not. Foxy9, he's there to push through the smoke, is watched by Lao King. He's to follow the tracers. Meanwhile, the rest of his team happily cleaning up. And now it's curtains. An 11th round for DRX, a second pistol round.
And if there was hope for Trace, I think it's just gone down the drain. Lao King did manage to double his kills, but he's gone from 1 to 2. That's a big fall for a player that people were excited to see popping off in the group stage against 2 great teams. But DRX today perhaps taking their opponents more seriously, maybe.
I think they've definitely done their research in terms of the best way that they can find the win here.
Yeah.
Banning Ascent, essentially telling Trace, pick your poison. Do you want to play Bind again, where you've just been anti-stratted? Mako will send out that paranoid. Yes, he's made his. Oh, it's perfect. But a TP to evacuate, so survival there for Lao King. Posturing them over towards A Rubble.
Kai's attempting to get this play through, but there's a trip right to the left of him. So Kai's got angles to heaven. Obviously DRX know that though, and there's nobody posted there. So this is going to be another opportunity for Foxy9 to mop up some ecos. See if he's good for it.
And he's got the backup, at least to back out the rendezvous, but at least behind him. He saw a lot of heads.
But they're not trying to contest.
No.
The time is simply ticking.
He's missed the timing though, maybe falling asleep ever so slightly. The bullets not quite landing onto the heads there, so player surviving. Kai heard the footsteps, baited out into the open. That was Buzz, he had his aim trained onto that spot. Expected outcome for him.
And a good
35 seconds.
Good time into the snake bite too to stop any kind of reactive push from Trace.
And it's not synced up too well, is it, from Trace? Throwing everything at the wall, seeing what can stick. Fung Fung's got to go down with a ship here. Can't survive into the next with his Marshall in his hands. And he won't, but that's up to 12 now for DRX. Right now, they're on the cusp. The confidence has been there right from the beginning, to be honest.
And have we had a more dominant map here at Champion Soul? Not that I can remember, but my memory's not photographic.
Yeah, listen, we're getting old.
But this is not just dominant in terms of the scoreline, but quick. And the rounds haven't been very close either.
Right, it feels like we just got here.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the fastest map that we've had so far. Trace are going to give it one more go.
Exactly. One more go. See if they can survive a bit longer in through this map. Opting into this fight over towards A-Rubble once more. It's delayed in terms of the util here, and you're going to start to see it once more. It's a season nade. Caught onto the corner. Wow, King is happy to stand his ground. Rest of his team alongside him. Taking his spies onto the open. Bane was spotted there, but as the door was just the slightest of angles, enough for Mako to capitalize.
Trace are not really using that pick. And the snakebite they just threw to go forwards on A, though. They're going to allow Buzz and Mako to set up another quasi-crossfire setup here. And Foxy9's dangerous too. He's front B with a judge. And
Yeah,
Kai
this spot is brutal, man.
appears to be wandering into a spider's web.
He's clearing it well. It's the appropriate way to clear that spot. And Mako also just goes for a little bit of a peek as well, seeing if he can offset that advantage that's now earned and gained over for Trace. Following through here, Buzz spotting his players out, but just can't quite land it. Not there with the reaction times. So off the back of this, Trace will be surviving a little bit longer here in through this map. Any damage that Flashback does will be good for the team. Taking guns out of the hands of Trace, just making it that much more awkward.
Important for Trace to be able to win one of these rounds where they're advantaged in the economy, just to feel like they can, to feel like they're not outclassed. There is a mental difference when you're in groups versus when you're in playoffs. There's also a mental difference when you're on a map that you've won on before and you know that you can beat global teams at, versus this, which is newer territory for them. Getting anything here is just going to give them a slight flare-up of that flickering flame of hope.
The trouble is, not much room to breathe, and every single round has danger lurking around the corner. Doesn't matter if DRX are on the low buy. Seen enough thrifty wins to know that that's the case. Sees nade up and over. Paranoia as a response. Buzz is right round the corner. Shoddy in hand. Upgrade obtained. And beaming him down. My God, Buzz! Didn't have to do it to him like that. It's dirty. It's disgusting to finish. And the angle, watch for. Fung Fung dropped to his knees. 13-3 is the finish. Map 1 sealed up.
In the blink of an eye. We barely got started with Lotus and DRX have already sent us barreling into the next. They have absolutely no interest in being here longer than they have to. Whistle forward to Abyss.
Yeah, dinner reservations, I think, something along those lines. But Abyss is that next map coming up as well. It'll be an interesting one to see if Trace can really pull anything from those hidden reserves.